but for people who are just general sports fans, on rare occasions, and certainly on this Father's Day, it was a great one and a worthy one for Gary Woodland. Congratulations to him, and he now is a major champion and something that will never be taken away from him. And if he never reaches even greater heights than this, he still will have had a wonderful career. And from the way he played and hit the ball and everything else, and the confidence he will gain from that, you would think that there is more to come for the Topeka native and University of Kansas golfer. Maybe less compelling stories, but still interesting to follow after this. Kansas City Royals continue to play, continue to mostly lose, and continue to have some bright spots as well. We'll check in on that. Women's World Cup action as well. That comes up next on the Weekend Sports Watch.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, you know, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Get a refreshing change of your expectations of a sports bar and restaurant at the 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. Matt Llewellyn's welcoming spot at Clinton Parkway in Cassold covers all the bases, like their own handcrafted beers and all the televisions you need for great sports viewing, but it's the large, varied, and delicious menu that stands apart. From a favorite of mine like the awesome ahi tuna appetizer to great sandwiches, outstanding pizza, and truly fantastic entrees, the 23rd Street Brewery has it all. Matt and his friendly staff make it that much more enjoyable. Food until 10, fun until late. The 23rd Street Brewery is a can't-miss stop when you are in Lawrence. Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team-building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for Reasonably Irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team-building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews, and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code ClinkScale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. Sumner One is the company to make your office maximize efficiency. Their family of companies make up one of the largest independent dealers of office technology in the Midwest. They are proud to bring the best service and technology to top companies across the region. Sumner One can help your organization run more smoothly than ever. Sumner One printers, copiers, MFPs, managed print services, document management, infrastructure design, IT services, disaster recovery, and business continuity. Welcome to the one place where everything works. For more information, call Carl Little at 913-752-2256. Welcome back to the Weekend Sports Watch. Again, hope you had a great Father's Day and enjoy the afterglow of that as we head into the sports week. And the Kansas City Royals got themselves a victory yesterday. Hey, if you're a big Royals fan and you still catch a lot of the games and their TV ratings are still good, although attendance is way down. They played in Minnesota, where the Twins are seeing the fruits of what they're doing as they have rebounded into being a power team, and they had 3 consecutive sellouts this weekend. Well, the Royals sent the Father's Day sellout crowd home, disappointed as they grabbed an 8-6 victory. Wasn't easy. The bullpen, again, was a bit shaky at the end. In fact, the pitching pitching all day long was kind of dodging bullets, lots of hits, lots of traffic for the Minnesota Twins, but they end up taking 2 of 3, and the Royals have moved themselves a couple of games away from being the worst team in baseball, but still are not winning games at even a 1-3 clip. They have been getting great starting pitching, which has been a really strong sign for them. That kind of stalled a little bit yesterday with Jacob Junis. He and Brad Keller had been pitching so well over the last few starts to really create some more encouragement when they were maybe the most disappointing parts of the team in some regard, because those were parts of the future that were important, and they hadn't pitched very well. They hadn't followed up, which for Keller was a great season last year, and for Junis was a couple of solid seasons. Junis now maybe hopefully not reverting to form, but his ERA is still over 5, but he had shown some signs of life, and Keller's been just great. He pitched 7 shutout innings the other day, even in a loss, and the Royals can maybe start to see him in that particular maybe 1, 2, 3 category again when it looked like maybe he was fading from that. Top of the lineup didn't hit yesterday, but some of the other people did. It's unusual for the Royals to win a game when that happens, but they did, and now they move on in their road trip, and it'll be late-night baseball. So even if you haven't been paying attention to the Royals and you watch another show or two, then it's 9:30 and everybody goes to bed, and you can watch a little Royals baseball if you feel like it out in Seattle. I always enjoy that, and we'll see if the Royals can gather momentum. It's the stat that I've kind of made up, but I guess I'll reiterate it. The Royals again tonight will be trying to get wins on consecutive days for the first time since April 18th. It's almost 2 months now. It'd be nice if they did it. And you go past 2 months without winning games on consecutive days. If you haven't heard me talk about this, yes, they did sweep a doubleheader against Tampa. Yes, they did win 2 in a row another time, but there was an off day in between. But still, on consecutive days, they've not won a game since June 18th, just a reflection of the frustration. We saw Sam Mellinger over the weekend chronicling the disappointment in the organization over the performance on the field, not necessarily the performance of the people who, moving ahead, will be very important for the Kansas City Royals. It is sort of a continuing same story. Couple wins a week, disappointment, a lot of things that aren't particularly going right, the same problems rearing their ugly head, the same positives generally there. Hunter Dozier should be back soon. Hopefully his season won't be sidelined and his renaissance won't be stalled by injury, which has been such a big part of his career. That's important. That to me, maybe the most single important thing you watch in Royals baseball over the next few weeks or so is whether Hunter Dozier could come back from injury and continue the fine performance that he had before, because the other things seem to be well in place. Alex Gordon is slumping a bit over the past month or so, but Whit Merrifield continues to play well. Adalberto Mondesi continues to shine in all areas of the game. So some of the good things that we've seen, and probably another thing to keep an eye on is somebody who had been seen as a core player, Jorge Bonifacio, who got the call-up after another player who had been given a shot. Ryan O'Hearn heads back down. Whether he can kind of regain the form of promise that he showed when he initially came to the majors, which kind of faded away as well. The Royals need 1 or 2 more positives to insert themselves, because having 6 or 7 real positives on your team on a 25-man roster, that's just not good enough. That's just a prescription for more and more losses. And one thing the Royals would probably just put as a simple goal is to play good enough baseball to avoid 100 losses. And in the hole they're creating for themselves, that's going to create some the opportunity or the necessity for pretty decent baseball for a long stretch of time to avoid that and become a team that lost 100 games or more in consecutive years twice. Since 1980, they would certainly be alone in that category, as the Kansas City Royals continue to be a muddled mess, but still a little bit interesting. And there are a Major League Baseball team, and the crowds have started to get a little better out at the K, so having some home wins would be nice, too, to reward the fans that are going out there and paying their money. I had a business meeting the other day, and the person I was speaking with was talking about the Women's World Cup, and he said, you know what, I'm not the biggest soccer fan in the world. I like soccer, but if you put the stars and stripes on something, I'm all in. And I think for a lot of people that is the case, and that this is the time for a women's sport like soccer in America to shine, because we're really good at this one. We're not so good in men's soccer right now, and being threatened maybe in some other sports. Still the kings in basketball, but not unquestioned kings. But definitely the number one team in the world right now, expected to win, doing things like creating social media discontent by scoring 13 goals and celebrating it in a World Cup game. Yesterday, 3-1 against Chile. That those two wins mean that the third game in group play doesn't really matter. They'll be on to the round of 16, and that's when it becomes very, very interesting. The U.S. still the favorite, but one of the second or third favorites in this championship, France, is playing on their home ground, so that should be quite interesting. And some big stars get to make their names for themselves. That's one of the things you feel good about in this particular situation as well. These women do get paid, although they're fighting in court to get paid as much as the men's teams. But people like Carly Lloyd and other people like that, who is having her swan song and has scored a goal in each of these two, not a starter on a regular basis anymore, started yesterday. But these people can create brands, can create image, can get sponsorships, things like that, to create a reward for being among, if not the best players in the world, the kind of reward that comes routinely in our sports like football or men's soccer internationally or things like that, where people make millions and millions of dollars. This is a good life generally for some of these players, but only the very top players. They have to return to the NWSL and make pittance, really. A lot of them are barely making enough money to even consider it a full-time job. Now, the stars make some money, but this is the time to shine. This is the time for the spotlight. This is the time to have parties at the Power and Light, and the women's team is certainly playing their part and doing it in style. Too much style for some? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but yesterday probably not. And then the game on Tuesday now against Sweden will basically be a friendly, because it matters little going forward, I guess. You do care whether you're first or second or whatever, but this will be a game that doesn't have the same import as others will have, and certainly not when the round of 16 gets underway. Over in France, makes me feel a little, not wistful. I get to watch the games and say, where was that? Where was that? Where was that? Because I was just in France, just in last month. So that's kind of cool for me as I watch the women's soccer and the U.S. try to be crowned kings for the second straight time in World Cup action. Well, golf dominated. Soccer inserted itself. The Royals are always there. Another weekend to digest in sports. Glad you came along for the ride. Appreciate it. And again, happy Father's Day belatedly from me to all you dads out there. And I'm sure the moms treated the dads just great on Father's Day. And we'll talk to you again real soon next week for Weekend Sports Watch. But every day new content at Danny Clinkscale's Reasonably Irreverent podcast and DannyClinkscale.com. Glad to have you aboard. Pay attention to my sponsors, and if you're out there and you'd like to become one, come on aboard. It's fun. We have a lot of good things that we do, enjoy ourselves. I'll be out at the T-Bones on Friday night, so come and by and see me and say hi there. DannyClinkscale.com, Sports Watch on the weekend, each and every week right here at DannyClinkscale.com.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Doob, an ultra-realistic 3D created figurine depicting you, a loved one, or a special event. Visit them on the Country Club Plaza.